Hello, my young and energetic dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. A very warm welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mauni. Dear friends, let's see what we have got in the PIB analysis today. But before that, you have to identify the person that you can see on the screen. If you know the name, you can also add extra information pertaining to the person that you can see on the screen. Now, dear friends, yesterday there was a question or a request from one of you that I should discuss answers on the next day. That means during the discussion or this video lecture. The thing is, the reason why I don't include that thing here is because first we get extra time to discuss important items that are important for your, of course, education and for your examination. The second thing is that you know it very well that I do highlight, or I do give a like, or I do pass my comment if I find a good answer, and I'm doing this on regular basis. What happens with this thing is that when you know that this is the right answer, or this is the best answer, or this particular point in any answer is good, so you have multiple answers in front of you, so you can pick up bits and pieces, right? And this helps you a lot in getting different views from all your colleagues, or you can say your co-mates, the other aspirants. And the other thing is that dear friends, in this way we can make this digital platform more interactive, and this interaction will eventually, or from the day one itself, I may say that it will help you a lot. So that is one of the main reason why I don't discuss answers. But rest assured, I do go through all the answers that are written by you, and I do respond to your comments as well. Sometimes, very rarely, right, if I'm too much occupied with lectures and things, then I don't respond, but I do go through it on regular basis. But I will get back to you, of course, if you have any sort of if you have responded with an answer, then I will get back to you. But having said that, dear friends, please allow me to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses for different exams like SSC Bank, UPSC and other government exams. StudyIQ provides you with different pen drive and tablet courses for different exams. Now, the good thing about this pen drive and tablet courses is that they are designed by the best faculty of our country. So you are not just getting study material with this, you are also getting the gist of experience of this best faculties of our country. The other thing is that, dear friends, if you want to know more about it, there are test series and other things as well provided by StudyIQ. So do check out studyiq.com, and if you have any question or queries regarding these things, then you can feel free to give us a call on this number. Dear friends, the first thing that we have in PIB today, and which is a very important thing, it is pertaining to India-Afghanistan relationship. Now, if you go through the foreign policy of our country, then there are two things that are very important, right? The first one is the Act East policy, right? Act East policy. That means we are going to act with the eastern countries of India. That includes this Japan, and you can take South Asian countries, etc. Southeast Asian countries, right? This whole country. So Act East, we have a topic of pertaining to this thing. We will discuss about this thing as well in our next slide. And we have neighborhood first policy as well, right? Neighborhood first. That means we will give top priority to our neighbors. These are the two most important thing when we go through our foreign policy. Now, the thing is, Afghanistan, of course, is not a sort of direct neighbor of our country, but when you see the extended neighbor, then of course it is. The second thing is that Ashraf Ghani, I did ask you, he was in the picture yesterday, if you remember, and basically Ashraf Ghani is in India, and both these nations share absolutely wonderful relationship with each other, right? And President Kovind has specifically expressed, he has particularly said that the leadership of Mr. Ghani during this difficult time of Afghanistan is something you can say you don't see it. It is a rare thing, because see friends, we know that Afghanistan is going through multiple problems, right? It has a terrorism issue, right? You have Taliban, which is controlling nearly 50% of Afghanistan. Then you have troubles coming from Pakistan. At the same time, you are fighting poverty. Then you are also fighting this illegal trade in banned substances, right? This all poppies and all these things that are used for making this heroin and other sort of banned substances. Apart from that, your country is landlocked, and you go through earthquakes and other natural calamities as well. So you can see that the whole country is in a sort of very tough situation, isn't it? And this is not going on from last 1 or 2 months. This is going on from ages. Now the thing is, if you imagine yourself, right, if you would be a leader of this sort of country, then what are the qualities that you should have? Of course, the biggest thing is that you should have, I must say that you should be mentally very stable person. You should have exceptional ability or skills to handle pressure, and only then you would be able to become, or you would be able to run this sort of country. And the reason why I'm discussing this sort of things is because, dear friends, most of you are preparing for civil services examination, isn't it? Civil services examination. There could be some students out of you who would be preparing for different national level exams, but let me tell you that you go through all these 3 stages, right? You appear for prelims, then you go through mains, and then you face a sort of interview. Rather than interview, I would rather call it, the right terminology is personality test, isn't it? Now if I would be you, or if you ask me that what should be done regarding this PT, this personality test, then I would say that from the day 1 itself, you should start improving and refining your personality, right? From the day 1 itself. The thing is, it is not something that you can change overnight, right? Your views and your beliefs, and it would be difficult for you to understand its impact on your work and your studies and things like that. But as the time goes on, as you will get more experience in life, you will realize that if we change the internal mechanism of ourselves, then we can change the things that are around us. And the small example is that many times, you know, that when you are too exhausted, when you are too tired, and you don't have any energy at all to do something, and suddenly imagine if you find a snake on your bed, then you won't think, isn't it? You won't think whether you should stand up or whether you should run away. You will immediately be in a sort of flight mode, isn't it? You will run away from there. So this indicates that we have all the energy and everything within us. It is only the mental blockade that or the boundaries that we have set for ourselves. Anyways, dear friends, these are the things that one should have. And when you are going to become civil servant of a country that is going through many problems, like India, we know that we have many challenges, isn't it? So you need to have this sort of capabilities as well. Anyways, dear friends, moving on to Afghanistan and India, we are sharing a very, you can say, the relationship is very warm. You can say we share a sort of affection with each other, because if you see the way we are developing the parliament, when I say developing, I mean to say that we have built the building of parliament in Afghanistan. We have built this Salma Dam, or India-Afghanistan Friendship Dam. Then you have we also read in the newspapers and we see in news channels that we are gifting helicopters to Afghanistan. We are training their soldiers and their police personnel. Then we are doing other sort of developmental activities. We are building schools over there. We are building hospitals, and we are providing our hospital staff over there, etc. So this you cannot do all these things without sharing a sort of you may say solidarity, or you may say a sort of a love with each other. If you don't have that thing, then this will not take place. And this may look strange, but these things do work. It's not all about dirty games and play and what I have and what you get and this sort of things. Not at all. Many a times, if the relationship between two countries are warm, all right, if the bond is quite strong, then you see this sort of gestures as well taking place. The other thing that I would like to highlight here is that many a times you find that Kashmir is not completely projected as the part of India. This is a sort of international conspiracy, and a couple of I think 8-9 months ago there was a conference that took place in India, and at that point of time we realized that we should work towards expanding our horizon, or you can say expanding our reach when it comes to international media, because even today when we talk about international media, then we don't find Indian names, right? In international level, it is all BBC and New York Times and CNN. These are the networks that are dominating the world, and many times you find their views as well, isn't it? So anyways, this is the thing, and so you should be able to detect. And we are going to discuss India-China issue as well today, India-China border thing. We are going to have a bird's eye view on this thing as well. Anyways, the reason why you are able to see this map here, because Afghanistan has said something that is going to create some troubles for Pakistan, because you know that we have Pakistan between India and Afghanistan, and Pakistan is not allowing Afghanistan and India to conduct a smooth trade. It is not allowing us to use these roadways to connect with each other, and because of this thing, Afghanistan has clearly stated that if you don't allow us to trade with India, then forget about your connectivity with Central Asian countries as well. We will not open our routes for you to bring and send items to this part of the world. So this is going to be a bit of you can say a tit for tat for Pakistan. Anyways, moving on to other items, Heart of Asia was also mentioned by Kovindji. He said that during Heart of Asia meeting, the speech of Afghanistan President Ghani was outstanding, and he also visited Golden Temple. Remember, Heart of Asia meeting is conducted for Afghanistan, right? For stable Afghanistan, and during his visit here this time, President also talked about this civilizational links between India and Afghanistan. And you can see here, this is just a small example, dear friends. During the time of Chandragupta Maurya as well, in 320 BC, you can see there's this Gandhar and all this area here. If you go through Afghanistan's current scenario, then you find that copper is being extracted or mined, and we find many Buddhist idols coming out of these sites in Afghanistan. Apart from that, we also know that Pathan community, right? It is believed that Pathans arrived in India from Afghanistan, so there is a people-to-people contact here as well. And the other thing is that if you go through, whenever you study our history, then you will find that all the attacks and intrusion came from this part. So even if you are coming from Fargana Valley or Central Asia, then you have to cross Afghanistan if you want to come to India. So it has always been a sort of gate for India. Anyways, that's a sort of things that I think this will help you. And finally, India has said that this developmental thing of Afghanistan and the stability of Afghanistan and peace of Afghanistan should be Afghan-led and Afghan-controlled. That means it should be designed and it should be customized as per the requirement of Afghanistan. It should not be dictated by any world power. Right, dear friends, and with this we come to another topic, and this is pertaining to ASEAN. And just now I told you that we are going to have a light on this China issue as well, isn't it? Now, yesterday we were talking about this ASEAN meeting, and there was a question as well, which many of you have answered as well. Now, our Nirmala Sitharaman, who is the Defense Minister, she is in Philippines for attending this ASEAN Defense Minister meeting, and during this meeting, she talked about freedom of navigation, overflight and commerce through the region. Why has he talked about this thing? Remember yesterday I told you about this portion here. This is called South China Sea, and the thing is, dear friends, this South China Sea is claimed by China. China is saying that it's 9-dash line. This is important. If you don't know what this is about, that means you have just started preparation and you are not connected with StudyIQ on regular basis, right? We have talked about this South China Sea and 9-dash line of China in PIB series, right? So please help yourself. Go back to, if you have just started this series, if you have just started following it, then I would recommend all of you to go back and go back to our previous lectures and familiarize yourself with this thing, because this is very important. The reason why I say it is important, because see, you know, this part here is Indian Ocean, or you can say Bay of Bengal, right? Specifically it is Bay of Bengal. Here you have Indian Ocean. So if you want to send any item from India to this part of the world, or if you want to say, for example, send the international trade of oil, everything passes through this waters here. This is called Strait of Malacca, right? Everything passes from this water here. Then you have to go to here. This you have to take this South China Sea if you want to reach Japan or Korea or Taiwan or other places, right? And many items coming from USA also come through this part here. So it is important that all these routes are open, they are free, and every country that is sharing border with these routes are following international law. The reason why we say this is because we know it very well. When Philippines took China to international court, at that point of time the verdict came out of international court that 9-dash line is not acceptable, it is a sort of illegal thing. But then China said that we are not going to pay any heed to the international law as well. We don't care, we are going to do what we like. So this is creating problem in this part of the world. We know it very well that these countries cannot stand individually against mighty China, but of course when they are together they can exert pressure on China. The other thing is, dear friends, talking about our East, right, Act East policy. When we talk about Act East policy, then this ASEAN is one of the most important groups. So keep this thing in mind as well. Now moving on to another item. This is about Home Ministry. Home Ministry has said that, Home Minister in fact said that the government is working, right, research and development is going on in providing a sort of technologically loaded, you can say, and proposed, or you can say posts, right, posts, security posts that can maintain 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Now this would be provided to ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police soldiers or Jawans. The reason, you can go through the name itself, you know that Indo-Tibetan, that means we are talking about Himalayan region, isn't it? Himalayan, and this is covered by snow most of the time, because it is in such a height. You find windy weather as well here, and of course they have been provided with all this protective gears. You have all these jumpers and jackets and things like that. But you know it very well that when you have to work for long hours in sub-zero temperature, right, of course you are trained for it, etc, etc, but the main thing is on a long-term basis it is going to take a toll on your body, isn't it? So to provide a sort of you can say a temperature cocoon, or I would rather say providing some a touch of technology that makes the life of this person a bit easier, right, then there is nothing wrong with it, isn't it? And the other thing is, let me quickly show you, let's have a sort of bird's eye view on India-China border. Here the thing is, dear friends, this portion was in news because of Doklam, you know it very well. Arunachal Pradesh as well. Pakistan is saying, not Pakistan, I beg your pardon, China is saying that Arunachal Pradesh belongs to China. Now China is such a country, like it has border disputes with all the countries, right? It is having border dispute with Bhutan, it is having border dispute, you know, this 9-dash line, and Russia as well, with Mongolia, with every country with which it is sharing border with, it is having problems, right? In fact, with Pakistan as well. You know that this portion here is occupied by, this portion of India is occupied by Pakistan, and Pakistan has given away, you may call it as a gift or a goodwill gesture, whatever you can give it a name, but illegally they have handed over part of our country to China, right? They have taken Tibet and all these things. So we know that it is a sort of nature of China to do all this sort of things. Anyways, these are the borders here, and this portion here that you can see in the yellow, this is here, this is known as Aksai Chin. So you should know about this thing as well, right, dear friends? Let's move on to another item, and this is the last item, but not the least, very important in terms of agriculture, in terms of economy, because Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat has said that India needs more and more. There was a workshop organized on olive research and development in India, and the thing is, dear friends, you would be quite shocked to know that India is importing 68% of cooking oil. Don't confuse this with the fuel that we import, right? We import nearly 80% of fuel, but when it comes to cooking oil, we also import nearly, you can say that 70% we are importing it. So this means the oil is going to be expensive, right? Cooking oil is going to be expensive, and it is expensive. The other thing is that when it is expensive, then you can easily say that this is going to be a bit of burden for our poor people, isn't it? For their nutritional diet and things like that. It will directly impact. These high prices will impact. So what we need here, we need to do more and more research, and we need to develop new seeds. We need to develop new methods through which we can avoid this malnutrition. We can grow more oil seeds, right, like groundnut and sunflower and other things, mustard. You can have different oil seeds, and if we grow them and if we crush them here, if we do proper packaging and processing, then we can produce oil. India has huge amount of potential. It is not that we are not able to produce this much. We can. We have all the natural resources. It's all that we have to marry technology, right? We have to marry technology with our farming methods, and if we do this thing, then of course we would be able to achieve whatever we like. And olive is a thing. Its consumption is going on. We know nowadays that we have the plate. Our plate has also expanded. We have different items as well that used to be foreign in nature, but now they are part of our diet. So olive oil and olives are part of are increasing. The consumption of this thing is increasing, and we can do a bit of good thing in this area. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion here, but I have a descriptive question for you. Please go through it and think about it, and then you can write down your answer in the comment section. With this, don't forget to subscribe. I would like to thank one aspirant who has specifically mentioned that whenever he gets a chance, he do share this thing. I'm not sure here whether he's a man or a woman. I'm not sure. Sorry about that. But there is a sort of reply of one aspirant, and I would like to thank you very much for doing this noble gesture, because what you are doing here is you are providing education. You are becoming a sort of bridge between a person who wants to study and this platform, right? You are connecting these two things, so which is a very noble cause, I believe. So thank you very much for it. If you have learned something out of this lecture, do give us your like, and please pass your answers and your comment. With this, I end this discussion. I'll see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.